What's up, lore masters? In the latest video, I discussed the failures of the Bajoran terrorist cell on Deep Space Nine and the Cardassians finally being able to determine how to bring down the minefield so that Dominion forces could enter into the Alpha Quadrant. So with all of that out of the way, let's take a look at DS9's Favor the Bold. Through Quark, the Resistance cell is able to determine that the minefield is to be deactivated within roughly a week's time. With little to no options, Kira and Jake utilize Morn, the most talkative and annoying cast member in the series, by the by. I mean, honestly, they gave the guy too much dialogue, but anyway. They utilize Morn to get a message back to Starfleet. Luckily for them, this was one of the 2 successful operations that the cell itself would have. After getting this information out, there's not a whole lot we see from the terrorist cell, well, for now at least. Rom is still set to be executed, Odo is still getting that sweet incel curing juice, and Kira is beating the hell out of Cardassians, and apparently getting away with it. Not much more to add until after Operation Return, something we'll be discussing in a few episodes, so on that note, let's rewind and take a moment looking at people who are actually fighting this war, Starfleet. Well, at least they're trying. The war for Starfleet is going exceedingly poorly. From everything we observe, the Klingon Empire and Federation are simply attempting stalling tactics without losing too much. Both Starfleet and Klingon forces attack specific, targeted areas only to fall back further into their own space. They then attack again only to fall back further into their space. Setting traps, hit and run, and other tactics would be effective here and there, but don't seem to have any long-lasting impact as, day after day, the Dominion edges closer and closer to victory. It's in this episode, in fact, that it's confirmed Dominion forces are fighting on the Vulcan border. Again, even if we assume that Damar was talking about the sector border of Vulcan and not the system's border, that is roughly 9 days away from Earth at Warp 7, roughly the fastest Dominion ship we've observed. If we assume that they're going to travel at the top speed of the slowest Dominion ship, that's Warp 5, and it would take about a month before they reach the capital of the Federation. To quote a famous soldier in Starfleet's past, well, this was it. Something had to change, or they were done for. The Federation Alliance could not continue to withstand these losses, so it was decided they would retake Deep Space Nine. Before we get into the plan and execution of Operation Return, I want to break down the scene with Jadzia Dax for a moment. The newest captain of the USS Defiant would barge into Sisko's office, angered that the Federation is continually falling back. She's indignant and gives her opinion of morale on the front lines. Sisko stands up, stating that he agrees with her that something has to change, and then points to the map that is directly to the right of her, showing the plans to attack DS9. So yeah, I mean, it's a wonderful storytelling device, and that's exactly why they did it this way, but let's discuss a few things. First off, an operation of this nature would most likely be so classified that telling Jadzia is illegal. But we'll ignore that for now. Why does Sisko have this plan where anyone can see it? Not only is it there for all to observe if someone just walks in, but the doors are made of glass. Now I understand that the argument will probably be that the base is secured, no one can get to that location, which, by the way, how'd that work out for them in Discovery with Starbase 1?
That plot was awful.
But it's important to note that they are fighting a species that has the ability to shapeshift, and we know that the changelings have infiltrated Starfleet Command before. We have no real indication that security measures have been perfected to stop them, so this is a huge security risk. We also know that Dominion intelligence isn't exactly stupid either. They are aware that Sisko has been made adjutant and is stationed at this base. So it's not like they're not being observed to one degree or another. I mean, I don't know why I'm worried. I'm sure lax security like this isn't why Starfleet is getting the absolute holy hell beat out of it at every step, so maybe I'm just overreacting. But anyway, let's discuss the plan a moment. Starfleet is going to pull its forces from most all of the fronts, which, luckily, they really don't have a lot of fronts to fight anymore, so I guess they lucked out on that one, and conduct a massive push into Dominion space to take back Deep Space Nine. Oh, and Bajor. Yeah, they definitely care about Bajor and not just Deep Space Nine and the wormhole. 100%, no worries there. However, there would be a perceived risk. This opens up Earth to a massive attack. Not to mention Vulcan, since they are pulling a major fleet off that front, but Vulcan isn't Earth. So I'm sure they're as worried about Vulcan as they are Bajor, so let's just continue on. Sisko counters, quite accurately, that a Dominion fleet would be brought together to stop the attack on Deep Space Nine, as it was the critical point of the war, not Earth. Too bad they didn't think about that when they evacuated the station, but that's another conversation. After talking Starfleet Admiralty into it, Sisko would then turn to the Klingon Empire. Gowron is reluctant to commit that many ships to this battle, as it would leave the Empire open to a counterattack, which is confusing. We know that the Klingons are on the opposite side of the Federation where the Dominion and Cardassian forces are. So, with both a weakened Federation and Klingon Empire, there's no reason for the Dominion to go for the kill shot immediately with the Klingons. They would focus on the Federation. Not only does it not make sense to bypass Starfleet assets, but the Dominion would open up its supply lines to attack as well as to being surrounded. How Gowron isn't killed earlier than he is in this series, I'll never know. And then, while all of this is going on, Starfleet receives the message about the minefield. Unfortunately, they're out of position, with the Armada still waiting on several fleets to arrive, and the Klingons haven't even agreed to the fight yet. But with no other options, Sisko takes the ships he had and goes to assault Deep Space Nine. However, many would forget the moment that really ensured Starfleet would retake the station. And it wasn't the mighty Starfleet, it wasn't some fancy new weapon. It would be a woman who had control of an incel that underestimated the lady juices of a rival female. Stay tuned for the next episode where we do a battle breakdown of Operation Return.